They say your life flashes before your eyes when you're about to die. That's not true. At least not for me. When I died, what I saw wasn't my past. It was something else entirely. And what followed me back hasn't let go since. Folded hands first, let me thank you. To everyone who's been watching, commenting, and sharing stories. Thank you. You're not alone. If you've ever felt like you left your body, saw a bright light, or came back different, maybe you've touched what I saw. I need to tell you everything before whatever's chasing me finally catches up. Bust in silhouette, my name is Eric Monroe. I'm 42 years old. I live in a quiet town in Oregon with my wife, Tina. We've been together 12 years, good ones mostly. I work in construction. Nothing fancy. Just long hours, bad knees, and the occasional paycheck big enough to fix the roof or buy flowers I forgot to get last anniversary. I've never been very spiritual. Grew up in a church-going family, but faith faded somewhere between college loans and bills. Honestly, I didn't think much about life after death until I stopped breathing. Collision: the crash happened on a Thursday. I was driving home late, another overtime shift, fighting to beat a storm rolling in. It was pouring. Visibility was garbage, and I was exhausted. I remember glancing at my phone. Tina had texted, "Dinner's cold. You okay?" I never got to respond. Out of nowhere, headlights. Too fast. Wrong side of the road. I swerved. My truck fishtailed. There was a flash, metal crunching, glass exploding, then nothing. No pain, just silence. It was like someone muted the world. Milky Way. Then I opened my eyes, but not in the world I knew. There was no road.
No rain.
No body. I stood barefoot on a flat, endless surface, like obsidian glass stretching in every direction. Above me, a sky that pulsed like a heartbeat. Deep reds, pale blues, strange colors I can't describe. There was no sound except one thing, ticking, like a clock, but not mechanical. It echoed in my bones. Tick, tick, tick. I wasn't afraid. I should have been, but I wasn't. The fear came later. Far ahead, I saw something, floating in midair. A doorway, but not a door. It shimmered like oil on water. On one side, blinding white. On the other, darkness so thick it felt alive. And in the center, a symbol. A split circle. One half white, one half black. Balanced, but cracked down the middle. As I stepped toward it, I felt watched. Like thousands of unseen eyes were locked on me. And then, I saw them. Sparkles figures began to appear. Transparent. Glowing. Some had faces I recognized. My mother's cousin, who died when I was 10. A classmate who OD'd in high school. Even my old dog, Max. They didn't speak with mouths. They thought into me. Each one left a feeling. A whisper. A regret. But then came the listener. It rose out of the dark half of the doorway. Tall. Thin. No face. Long limbs that drifted like smoke. It didn't walk. It glided. And when it reached me, I felt every bad thing I'd ever done crash down on my shoulders. I don't know how long I stood there. The listener didn't say a word. It just pointed behind me. And suddenly I saw the accident again. But not from inside the truck. I saw it from above. My body, crushed. First responders scrambling. Tina screaming into a phone. And the paramedics calling it. Time of death. 9:27 p.m. That was it. I was dead. And somehow that realm was judging me. Then something strange happened. The listener reached out and touched my chest. And in a voice that sounded like every version of me all at once, it said, "You were not supposed to die yet." Then the ticking stopped. The glass world cracked like a mirror hit by a hammer. And I was pulled backward so violently, I thought I was being torn apart. I screamed, no sound. Then, high voltage, I woke up. On a hospital gurney. A defibrillator on my chest. Nurses shouting. My wife sobbing nearby. I gasped. My lungs burned. One of the doctors stared at me like he'd seen a ghost. "You were gone," he whispered. 3 full minutes.
No pulse.
You were gone. But I was back. Only, I wasn't alone. Candle, that was the beginning. What I saw, what I experienced, wasn't a dream. It wasn't some neuron misfire. It was real. And it left something behind inside me. Because in the weeks that followed, things started to change. I could hear things people didn't say. I saw glimpses of deaths before they happened. And every night, the ticking returned. Only now, it came from inside my chest. And Tina? She started acting strange too. Distant. Nervous. Like she was hiding something. And then I noticed the mark. A split circle, faint, behind her ear. Just like the symbol on the doorway. In the hospital, they called it a miracle. I was clinically dead for 3 minutes. Flatlined. No pulse, no breath, and somehow came back. The doctors said they'd never seen anything like it. The word lucky was used a lot. But I didn't feel lucky. The moment I opened my eyes, I felt wrong. Like I had stepped back into my life. But something came with me. Something that didn't belong in this world. I tried to tell Tina about the place I'd seen. The black glass floor, the glowing sky, the ticking. But she just smiled politely and stroked my hand like I was talking nonsense. Baby, you've been through a trauma, she whispered. Your brain is just trying to protect you. Maybe she believed that. But I saw the way her eyes flicked away from mine. The way her fingers touched the back of her neck. Right where I'd seen that symbol. At first I thought I imagined it. A trick of the light. A leftover image burned into my vision. But no, it was real. A faint circular shape. Split down the middle. And it matched the doorway I saw in the realm between life and death. They discharged me a week later. Physically, I was fine. Mentally, not so much. I was different. I felt things I shouldn't have. On my first night home, I walked past a neighbor watering her plants. As I glanced at her, I suddenly knew she was going to die. Not in some vague, dramatic way. I saw it. Her lying face down in her bathtub, an empty wine bottle nearby, her fingers purple from the water. It hit me like a cold slap, then vanished. She waved at me. I waved back, pretending nothing happened. She died 3 days later. Exactly the way I'd seen. That was the first one. But not the last. Every day it got worse. Strangers at the grocery store. A man walking his dog. A teenager biking past. Their deaths. Some distant, some imminent. Flashed through me like waking nightmares. I stopped going outside. But even inside I wasn't safe. Because the ticking came back. Not faint anymore. It was louder. Closer. Like it was inside me. Tick. 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 I tried covering my ears. Didn't matter. It wasn't in the air. It was in my chest. Like my heart had been replaced with a countdown. Then came the dreams. Except they weren't dreams. Not really. I close my eyes and wake up back in that glass realm. Only now it was cracked. The floor beneath me shattered with each visit. The symbol in the sky, the split circle, flickered, one side darkening more and more. And the listener? It was closer. Not pointing anymore. Staring. And always, it whispered the same word in 1,000 voices. Balance. One night, I woke up gasping for breath. Not because of the ticking. Not because of the visions. Because Tina wasn't in bed. The clock said 3:11 a.m. I called her name. No answer. I walked through the house. The lights were off. Front door locked. Then I noticed the back patio door was slightly open. And out there, standing barefoot in the yard, was my wife, staring up at the sky. Tina, I whispered. She didn't turn. When I got closer, I saw her lips moving. She was murmuring something, a chant. Maybe a prayer? And her hand was on the back of her neck, fingers gently pressing the symbol like it was a button. Tina, I said louder. She turned slowly, eyes blank like she was sleepwalking. Oh, hey, babe, she said, blinking. Couldn't sleep, just getting some air. She walked past me like nothing happened. I should have pushed, demanded answers, but I didn't, because for the first time in 12 years of marriage, I was afraid of my wife. The next day, I started going through her things. I know how that sounds, but something was off. The woman I loved was hiding something. I found it in the attic. A small wooden box tucked behind Christmas decorations. Inside, a bundle of letters, written in a strange language I couldn't read. A tiny black stone etched with the same split circle symbol. And a photo of me, unconscious in the hospital bed. On the back of the photo, in Tina's handwriting, were 5 words. 3 minutes. Doorway opened. Marked. I dropped the photo. What did that mean? She knew? She expected it? Was this all planned? Suddenly, a memory returned. Something the listener said before I was yanked back into life. You were not supposed to die yet. But someone asked for time. Did she do something to bring me back? Or worse? Did she make a deal? And if so, with what? Later that night, I confronted her. I showed her the photo. What is this, Tina? I asked. Her expression didn't change. She looked tired, almost sad. You weren't supposed to find that, she said quietly. Answer me. What is this? She sat down, hands folded, eyes lowered. When you crashed, they gave me a choice, she said. I could bring you back, but there was a cost. I felt my chest tighten. What cost? She looked up, and for the first time, I saw fear in her eyes. They marked you, she whispered. You're not just alive again, Eric. You're a key, and something is coming for it. I didn't sleep after that, because now I knew I wasn't going crazy. I really had brought something back, and now I was marked, not just by fate or death, but by something older, something that wanted balance. And I had tipped the scale. I started keeping notes, recording everything, visions, dreams, symbols, whispers, trying to figure it out. But each time I closed my eyes, the ticking grew louder. And one night, I woke up with a message scratched into the wall above my bed. Balance must be restored, written in my handwriting. But I had no memory of doing it. There's something I haven't told you yet. In the vision, right before I was pulled back, I saw one last thing. A figure trapped behind the doorway. It looked like me. Same face, same eyes. But its mouth was open in a silent scream, and its hands were clawing at the barrier. What if that version of me never left? What if I'm not the original? It's been 13 days since I came back. I don't count them by calendar dates anymore. I count them by how many visions I've had. How many ticks echo in my skull. How many sleepless nights I've spent wondering if I'm still really me. But tonight is different. Tonight, I'm writing this from a motel outside town. I left Tina. I left the house. I left everything because I realized something horrifying. They're not just watching me. They're preparing to take me back. Let me explain. A few nights after Tina confessed, I tried to get answers, real ones. Not riddles. Not whispers. So I went back to the crash site. The stretch of road was empty. Just trees and silence. My car's final skid marks were still faintly visible on the pavement. I walked the same path my body had flown after impact. And I stood there trying to remember. Not the crash. The moment after. That in-between place. And then I heard it again. Tick, tick, tick. But this time it wasn't just in my head. It was in the air, vibrating like pressure, pulsing through the dirt, the trees, the ground beneath my feet. Then I saw it. Tear in the sky. Just for a second. Like reality had been peeled open. And behind it was the glowing black glass of that other place. When I blinked, it vanished. But something stepped through. Not physically, not yet. But I felt it. Like a cold wind brushing past my soul. And the ticking got louder. I dropped to my knees, holding my chest. And for the first time since I died, I truly felt like I was about to die again. That's when I saw her. Not Tina. The woman from the in-between. The one whose face I never saw. She stood just at the tree line. Long hair blowing in a wind I couldn't feel, and whispered, "You were chosen, but not to return." Then she raised her hand, and in her palm was a clock made of flesh and bone, the hands spinning wildly. And at the center was my name. When I got home, I knew what I had to do. I tore through the attic box again, scanning the letters I couldn't read, until I found something tucked inside one of them. A single Polaroid of Tina, much younger, standing next to the listener. Same posture, Same featureless face. And she was smiling. My hands went cold. This wasn't her first time. She had done this before. Maybe not to me, but to someone. Tina came home an hour later. I confronted her. I showed her the photo. She didn't deny it. She didn't even look surprised. She just said, "You weren't the first, but you'll be the last." And then she whispered a phrase I didn't understand. A prayer? A spell? A command? Suddenly the ticking stopped, but not in a good way. Felt like time itself paused. The air grew thick. The walls blurred. And behind Tina, I saw it, the doorway, splitting open. And the other me stepped through. The one I saw in the realm. The one trapped behind glass. Only this time he wasn't trapped. He looked like me but emptier, like something had hollowed him out. And Tina? She smiled again. Not at me. At him. That's when I ran. I don't remember how I made it out. I just remember my lungs burning and my head pounding. I drove all night. I didn't stop until the sun rose. And still, the ticking followed. Now I'm here, in a cheap motel, door locked, curtains drawn, writing everything down. Because I don't think I'll be here much longer. The visions are different now. Not of other people's deaths, but mine. And every time I see it, the moment is closer. The clock is almost at 0. There's one final piece to this puzzle, and I'm terrified to say it aloud. But if I don't, no one will know. I think I died for real. And the thing that came back wearing my face isn't me. It's a placeholder. A key. A messenger for whatever lives on the other side. And its job isn't just to observe. It's to prepare the world. So if you're reading this, if you've ever died and come back, if you've heard the ticking, seen the symbol, or dreamed of the black glass realm, you've been marked too. It doesn't matter how long you were gone. They only need a crack to come through. And me? I was the first crack. The doorway. So when the ticking starts for you, when time begins to break, when someone you love starts acting just a little too still, a little too quiet, a little too perfect, run. Because the listener is watching, and your time is running out. Do you think I was just hallucinating after death? Or did something real follow me back? Has anything like this ever happened to you or someone you know? Let's talk about it in the comments. And thank you again for being part of this journey through life, death, and what waits beyond.